Hello, all you humans. Apologies for the delay. Our next guests are Jedis in one of the newest and most prolific industries in the U.S. Jen from the Chronicle magazine based out of Albuquerque, and Josh from BudBoards and their counterparts put on a Cannamixer, as they put it, or a legal cannabis business mixer, meant to be an event and a voice in the legal cannabis realm in New Mexico. We sat down on location at the Banque Lofts to talk about legal cannabis. We riff on strains and terpenes in relation to Josh's company and its breakthrough AI. This is some cool shit. It's called HiNet. Couldn't make that up. Jen and I talk about the Chronicle, the community, her and co-founder John are creating, and the purpose of events like the Cannamixer in the bigger picture. Thank you guys for being patient. I'm going to crank these bad boys out every 2 weeks without fail from here on out.
Same put, beautiful.
Cool. So Josh, good to have you here, man. So you're
Great
on
to be here.
you're on a Perch Birds podcast. So what are you here and where are we at? What are we doing? What are you here for?
So we're down on 3rd and Central today at the Banque Lofts. We're hosting an event up on the roof that we're calling the Cannabis Industry Mixer.
Sweet.
So what we're really here to do today is just kind of connect people, get people networking with each other, and really make new stuff happen
In the cannabis industry
In the cannabis
specifically.
industry specifically,
Sweet.
yeah.
Okay. So and then you guys are hosting this, right? You guys are one part of the host.
Yeah, so it's two parts. It's BudBoard, which is us, and then the Chronicle, which is a wonderful magazine out of Albuquerque.
Shout out to Chronicle.
Shout out to Chronicle. Gotta love them. And at BudBoard, we do some. Should I? No,
Oh, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, whatever feels natural, man. This
Sounds
isn't
good.
a scripted nothing.
Yeah,
like that.
of course.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
just trying to figure it out.
Yeah,
feel it
so
out.
with BudBoard, what is BudBoard about? Like, it sounds pretty straightforward. Are we playing a chess game with Bud, or what is?
So
BudBoard?
BudBoard started out as a menu display system for dispensaries.
makes sense.
So I joined I joined the cannabis program here about a year and a half ago, and I very quickly learned that there wasn't a lot of information out there that really helped me pick my medicine.
Sure.
And even at places that did have a menu, it was something that I just couldn't read very well.
And now, when we're saying menu, just to make sure I'm clarifying, we're talking about like a TV with like an
Yeah.
automated menu, right?
Yeah, TV
Sweet, okay.
that shows like typically a picture and some prices and some names. But if you're in a dispensary that has a BudBoard menu, we show what symptoms the medicine treats, what terpenes, which are the chemicals that determine how symptom output happens, and how the medicine tastes and smells and whatnot.
Sure.
We
Okay,
show
the
all that
specifics.
information up
So,
on the board.
So to go back to it, you were saying that when you initially were looking at menus, I mean, you weren't finding all this information. Like, they were lacking, right?
Yeah, the most that I ever found in a dispensary before we started BudBoard was a name, THC content,
Of course.
and price.
Right,
And that
okay.
was it. And now you can show THC, CBD, CBN.
Sure.
All
Terpenes.
kinds of all kinds of crazy
Okay.
stuff like terpenes.
Okay.
We've got room for 3 terpenes each, but we've got a spectrum of 30 that you can pick from.
Wow.
So we really are about making better medicine for the patient and allowing the patient to choose what's going to be best for them.
Okay.
And that's, surprisingly enough, that's actually why we've started to move away slightly from the menu boards as our focus.
Interesting.
We now actually run a company that we call HiNet. It's actually underneath BudBoard.
Is it related to Skynet?
It's not related
can I
to
trust you?
Skynet. It is the Skynet of weed is
Oh,
what I
wow.
call it.
I like the sound. Okay.
I can take a terpene profile and
Okay.
I can solve the main issue that cannabis has, which is that you can't tell what your weed's going to do for you typically. You have to wait a while to see what people say is going to happen. But if you go to a lab and get it tested and you bring those results to me, I
Okay.
can tell you exactly what that medicine's going to treat. And so we
So you're saying, like, this is if a let's just say theoretically a doctor was trying to utilize this system, then they could know for a fact what strain X is going to do for a patient, right?
So due to some tricky rules with the FDA, I technically can't say that it's 100% going
Sure,
to do, but
sure.
Based on my analysis method, I can say that with very, very high confidence that it's most likely to treat these set of symptoms.
Sure. So I guess the idea would be that during the is it the treatment for, like, after the fact, they come back in and talk to you, or are you testing the things? Like, how are you?
We actually work directly with dispensaries to change the medicine that they're supplying their patients. So one of our clients in town purchases terpenes directly from us and puts it into their distillate based on some consulting that we do with them weekly to determine what they should be putting in their medicine that week.
You said distillate. What is that? I don't want to.
So distillate is highly concentrated THC put into a vapable format.
Whoa.
It usually comes in like a cartridge, like those pens that you see people carry around all the time. Sure. But it's also available in like syringes that you can put into any type of situation where you would consume oils.
Okay, so what are you doing to change this distillate? What? So you go into a dispensary and you say, "Hey, man, let me check out your purple exploding Con."
Yeah, kind of. So what the first step is we go into a dispensary and we say, "Hey, what strains have you tested?" And typically it's not very many because
so when you're
saying testing is expensive.
And I'm sorry to be so persnickety.
No worries,
but are you saying
dude.
Lab tested, or are
lab
you saying
tested.
like okay?
Lab tested. So taken to a certified tester in town, and essentially they burn it and they pull the headspace off, which is the gas that's left over from being burned, and then they run that through a big system that tests to see how much of it is certain chemicals.
That's interesting. So this is based around science. BudBoards is basically utilizing science to leverage and then make the industry safer.
Safer is a bit of a stretch, but more consistent is what I would go with.
Sure, because I would think that if you had a system that was high and tight, kind of like that, I can go in and say, have any issue and actually know that I'm going to come back out and at least reach up and touch it, maybe not completely cover the goal, right? I mean, that's the idea.
So I personally feel like you're going to really completely cover the goal, but at the very least, you're definitely going to get better results than you have with just any old medicine you're going to pick off the street.
So how long have you been doing this, man?
We've been doing this specifically about 4 or 5 months. We have been doing BudBoard for just a little over a year now.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn, man, you guys are moving along. So, I mean, you guys are a full-blown company. Do you guys, I mean, you guys are you're saying that you're already moving away from the menu boards. Are you growing in a manner that allows that to be something is like your foundation? Like you're still doing that, but now you're able to move on to other stuff because that's kicking ass, I'm sure.
The menu will always be a very integral part because it's really this trifecta of products. So we have the menu, which allows you to show your patients what you actually have. And then we have HiNet, which is the algorithm that we created to determine what symptoms are treated by what terpenes.
And you're just plugging stuff into that, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Okay, the data.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No worries.
I'm still tripping on that. I love the HiNet thing. That's so perfect, man.
It really is. I was flabbergasted when I thought of that. I was like, oh yeah, that's
right?
perfect.
Like you just can't beat it.
But so essentially, what HiNet really allows me to do is it allows me to look at all the terpene profiles in a market, whether that's one dispensary or just New Mexico or the entire country, and see how they're similar to each other in both what terpenes they have and in what symptoms they treat.
And then do you guys have transparency between the dispensaries? Or is it only the ones that you've dealt with that are cool and in the program, I guess?
So some of our clients do ask us for exclusivity, which means that we don't share their strains with anybody else.
I would think so.
Yeah, and that's a very commonplace thing, and honestly is what I would suggest for most of our clients, just because it's your terpene profile is your strain. If someone can copy that profile, then they can copy your strain. And terpenes are the side that we supply. So terpenes are actually completely legal. They come from cannabis, but they also come from any other plant.
And this is
like
because
lavender.
That's because THC is not present in the terpenes.
Exactly.
It's essentially the flavor of the plant just extracted.
Exactly. So like if you put perfume on, you put terpenes on every day.
Could you put this in a cake?
Oh God, yeah. You can put it in edibles. You could. I rub it on my wrist every night to go to sleep.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, it's a really amazing tool that everybody should add to their cannabis
You're stepping
profile.
into more holistic, man, because that's what do they call with the vapors? What is the therapy
so
called?
aromatherapy. It actually works. It works entirely off of the same system that aromatherapy does.
Sure. Okay.
The issue is that most aromatherapy chemicals are high in 1 or 2 terpenes, mainly limonene. So like you get something that smells citrusy as an aromatherapy chemical. That's because it's got limonene in it.
Limonene.
Limonene, yeah.
Okay.
That's it's in a lot of things.
I would imagine it's in limes.
It's in limes.
Okay.
It's in lemons.
It just seemed like
it's
that's
in oranges.
Okay. So anything citrusy, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So With aromatherapy chemicals, you don't really know what you're going to get, and really where the magic happens is what we call the entourage effect with cannabinoids.
Okay.
So cannabinoids and terpenes interact with each other in order to make each other better.
Okay.
So like linalool is going to give you which smells like lavender, is going to give you a really sleepy, relaxed effect. But if you pair that with THC, you're going to get a greater effect from the THC and a greater sleepy, relaxed effect.
It's kind of
from
like
the
a
linalool.
euphoric middle, if you will.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay. So these factors are kind of what you guys built as the parameters for the algorithm, then, to be able to say, factor in this and this, and what's the best solution, right? Like deducing, essentially.
So the beauty of it is that we didn't say what the best solution is. It learned what the best solution is.
Damn, that got heavy. Hold on, say it again.
So my algorithm learned what the best solution is as opposed to us telling it.
Mind you, he didn't say Skynet, though. I want to make sure that everybody knows. It's okay. No.
So
that is really cool, though. No, that the tech that you're speaking about, to me, is really representative of our generation and then the direction that we should go, because this is speeding up a process which would take years.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? To learn that, and now you've got machines crunching the numbers.
Exactly.
I love that way you're doing
So when I had this idea. Oh God, it's June almost now. It's middle of May. I had this idea maybe 7 months ago when we were in Vegas for one of the cannabis conferences. We were at a really nice private party for Baker, which is a technology partner that we have that does. Since I've said their name, I have to say what they do. They do similar in-store stuff that we do, but they're more like a content management system for your customers. So they allow you to outreach to your customers and increase sales. So we
kind of marketing-y more than anything, right? Like
okay, sure. So we were at their event, and we were talking to an investor that owns Leafly about essentially the idea behind the algorithm, and the first thing that he said to me was almost dismissive. It was like, oh, that's 10 years away. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, if I have the data, I can do that in a week, and we have it now. Yeah. So this is stuff that what we're doing right now is stuff that people very high up in the industry that are making the decisions think is 10 years away.
Wow. And then, and I guess we haven't addressed this. So what is your history? How did you come into this, man? You're just good with computers, algorithms? What's your thing?
So I'm only 20, actually. I dropped out of the computer science program at UNM 2 years ago. I started a web development company with my friends when I was 16. They had already graduated and had some experience in the field, but since I was 4, I've been playing video games for ages, and I learned to read from them. So
here. Yeah.
I wanted to make computer stuff. I wanted to make video games ever since I was a little kid.
Sure.
And getting into this kind of programming, meeting cannabis, the two things that I love, meeting each other and making each other better, is really awesome for me. But I do not have a background heavily in cannabis. I'm too young.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, no, and that was what I was going to say, because I think that's awesome that you have a head wrapped around this, because even by the time it would be like legal in New Mexico recreationally or any of the above, I mean, you guys are really ahead of the curve there.
Exactly.
I mean, it'd just be nothing but volume. I mean, that's going to be mass demand. I mean, you guys are ahead of it, and then it's coming from a place of science. And I think that's the thing, that even when Colorado, Oregon, those guys that had kind of got out there ahead of it, they're the first to do it, to come to recreational. But I don't think that it was this kind of thing had been either the technology or it just wasn't there yet. But now they've already crossed those rough boundaries, and now we can come back and refine it. And I think that's where you're at. You're like the fine wine kind of version. So I'm hoping that your level of refinement, and then just the algorithm, just to utilize technology like that should make a better experience.
Certainly.
I mean, for one, it's going to treat patients better, but then to be able to go to recreational and be like, hey, this does X, Y, Z. So we were talking about how we kind of had you said an entourage?
An entourage effect is what we call it, yeah.
Okay, so with this entourage effect, I'm getting my terpenes together with my cannabinoids. Right? This is the thing that we're talking about.
So the entourage effect is how terpenes and cannabinoids interact with each other, and in some cases, terpenes and cannabinoids interact with each other.
Interesting. This is like chemistry level stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I'm just not super good at it, but I got it, sort of.
So this is for all the partiers out there if they don't quite understand it. If you've ever gotten drunk and then smoked a joint, we call that crossfaded. That's basically the entourage effect in practice there. Smoking pot, it makes the uptake of alcohol greater in your system, which means that you get drunker. And it's a very similar situation when you have cannabinoids and terpenes together.
Sure.
It's pretty linear.
And then I'm sure that the individual strains then add to the specific effects that this entourage has.
Exactly.
Right,
So
okay.
so terpenes are the reason that Girl Scout cookies smells the way it does. Terpenylene in one of the terpenes is one of the reasons that Blue Dream smells so damn blue.
Smells so damn blue. Did you know you could smell blue? It's amazing. I like smelling blue. I'm sure that you, with some of that, you would probably think that you're smelling blue.
Oh, certainly, yeah. No, the blueberry smell, obviously, is what I'm talking about. But it's really cool how they interact with each other to make new smells. Like alpha-humulene and myrcene together is what makes that really nice fruity smell that you'd expect from Tangy Haze.
Okay.
Myrcene, really high myrcene contents are what cause strains to smell skunky.
Okay.
So
Myrcene.
yeah, through these myrcenes also, like,
if you all want to sound educated next time you smell some skunky bud.
yeah,
Hey,
like
that's some nice myrcene you have.
some of you, this is for the people that really know their stuff out there. If you eat a mango about 40 minutes before you smoke, you'll get higher when you smoke because of the myrcene content that's naturally in mangoes.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's
Entourage effect again.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
And so, like, these terpenes are in just about everything.
Sure. Okay.
And really, it's the reason that it's so nice to stop and smell the flowers when you're out too.
Well put. Stop and smell the flower. So okay, so this plays into edibles. We were just talking about trying to put
Yes,
these terpenes.
that's
Okay.
where we were.
Yeah, because I was thinking that's got to be part of the deal is that I can get a different. Can I take one? How should I put this? Can I put one batch of chocolate? Let's say I make 10 chocolate bars. Can I make 2 of them one flavor with terpenes?
Oh, yeah.
2 of them another. Okay. So the terpenes is what would determine even a flavor. It's not just a smell, right?
It's the flavor, the smell, and the feel.
Okay, so this is a chemical essentially that's going to have all of these traits to them. So you're going to put this oil, this extract back into chocolate bar just straight up, like you can just stick
Pretty
it in
much.
there. Okay.
So yeah, in the extract that they put in the chocolates is usually where we'd add in the terpenes. That's not. So we haven't done it with edibles yet. We know that you can.
Right.
Mainly, we've stuck to topicals and concentrated distillates.
Interesting. Okay. And again, going back to distillates, this is like the goop that is the concentrate.
Yeah. So this is almost pure THC. In the state of New Mexico, you're not allowed to sell anything over 70% THC, but it comes out of the extraction 98, 99% pure, and then they cut it down to something
really
that's
speaks
legal
to
to sell.
technology, though, man. Because I mean, you can really get what else is there if it's all I mean, are you able to physically see THC? Then is that the idea?
So I'm actually not sure how the THC comes out in the crystalline process. Or how it comes out from the extraction process.
So
is it
if
crystalline?
If it comes out of the
Yes, that's
So-
what it is.
So it comes out of the machine and it's a pure distillate. And then if I'm looking at that, I would essentially, if it's 98%, most of what I'm physically seeing is THC itself, right? The chemical.
They'll cut it down with something like vegetable glycerin, propylene glycol. Usually those things make it taste a little funny, so we like to add terps instead of propylene glycol and vegetable glycerin. And that's one of the next things that we're working on by partnering with extractors and people that have their own manufacturer's licenses in the state.
So is it like safe, this vegetable glycerin? This
Oh yeah.
Okay.
If you've vaped stuff from with nicotine in it, it's the same stuff that they cut that with. It's not anything that the state or the FDA doesn't think is okay to inhale.
Right. No, I have to be the devil's advocate.
Of
right?
course,
It's a
yeah.
podcast, but and my thoughts is that they talk about popcorn lung. You've heard of that shit, right? Right. Where
Oh
they-
yeah.
Cats will, usually like high school kids that are just chiefing the vaporizer, right? The nicotine things for consistently. They get that wheeze, and then they go to the doctor and they find out they get some sort of debilitating lung thing. I'm not sure if it's even curable, but
that is actually one of the big issues that's going to plague the cannabis market in the future. Is not actually popcorn lung itself, but whether or not products are going to give people issues, and that's something that we just don't know right now. If you're consuming cannabis in that format, that's the risk you take consuming cannabis in that format, because the U.S. doesn't allow us to test that. It doesn't allow us to know.
This is my thinking on it, though. California is like the 5th or 4th largest economy in the world, and they just legalized recreational marijuana after it being the first in '96, I think, to start the medical marijuana. If these cats that literally put a sign on every fucking entrance
Literally
that
everything,
says you can get a birth defect and cancer from everything in California, or anything you buy, it says you have to have, you're going to basically get cancer from everything.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised, right, that there is no bylaw that says, fuck your vapors because it gives you cancer, right? So
yeah.
that was the one thing I was really I thought was unique to the California law, because it seemed like it was sweeping kind of like Colorado was, and it just allowed all products, and I wonder if that's going to change, like we're kind of alluding to here. I hope it doesn't, because I know that vaporizers are much easier for athletes. A lot of times, even if they're just doing CBD or they're doing nicotine, they'll choose to do the vaporizer over any sort of plant material because that's for sure
a lot safer than smoking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. Like you're burning anything, you're going to fucking change its chemical composition.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
You're going to end up with benzene in your lungs, stuff you don't want.
Yeah. So, okay, so the distillate, we were adhering it to propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin, right?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people in the industry use. So we don't actually come into contact with the medicine at all.
Right. We're still coming from BudBoard rep.
Yeah,
Josh,
exactly.
Right? Okay,
yeah.
no, I got
We're
you.
still a tech company at the end of the day. Like I said, we started because we wanted patients to have access to better medicine and know what they needed to get. And now with the main issue in the cannabis industry being the uncertainty in treatment, since we can solve that uncertainty, we are trying to get out there as quickly as possible in as many places as we can just to make the industry better. So we have an Instagram that we're very proud of. We post a lot of stuff too. It's at BudBoardEXP, BudBoardEXP. And then you can also go to our website, budboard.co, check us out, schedule a demo if you're really interested. And if you're really, really interested, you can give me an email. It's mallet@budboard.co, MALLETT @budboard.co.
All right, what's the mallet, man? Come on.
Mallet's my last name.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
dude, that's
so
awesome.
most people call me Josh, but I played baseball all growing up, and if you're named Josh playing baseball, you're sure as hell getting called by your last name.
That was well put. Yeah. Okay, so awesome. So you guys have a Facebook?
I think we got a Facebook. Yeah, we definitely have all the other forms of social media through BudBoard, but we're most active on that Instagram.
You know what's hilarious, man, is I'm basically the sole guy for Aperture Birds besides a couple other guys that help me out. But to post everything, I'm the same way except on Facebook and Instagram, and you know what I mean. And then beyond that, like I mean, you don't have to do much when you're looking at Google Music and iHeart and Spotify. It just shows up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But when you go and put those posts out, man, no, I know that it's a pain in the ass to try to put it in 7 places, and it's all got to be unique and hashtagged and woo. No, so what we'll do is we'll end up when we put out this podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and tag Mr. Mallet. I'm gonna tag budboard.co. I'll try to get your Instagram out there, and then of course we're gonna share and like across the board. Make sure we're all partners. And Josh, I really appreciate you coming on, man. Do you have anything else you want to tell our listeners? Anything we might have missed?
Nothing that I can think of. I've been talking a lot lately, so I've been trying to get it all in one go.
No, it was very informative, man, and I really appreciate the fact that you dropped some knowledge, and definitely shows that, having somebody at the core of the IT side, we work in IT, so we understand.
Yeah, that's what he was saying on the break.
I don't do coding, God, no. Oh, no. But no, I definitely know that having the guy that is operating the actual application that the company is based off of, and essentially the product you're selling, you're knowledgeable, you know what's going on, and then it looks like, I'm sure you guys are how many people deep?
We're 4 people and a sales guy, so 5 people deep right now, yeah.
Shoot.
We like to keep it small. We move faster that way.
That's it, make more money.
Exactly.
Josh, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, man. Take it easy.
You too.
Cannabis.
Cannabis. And I'm with the lovely Jen Montano.
Yes, Jen Montano.
From the Chronicle, the amazing, legendary magazine. That's the Albuquerque-based cannabis magazine. And what are we doing here? What's this mixer all about?
Well, this mixer is an exciting event because not many have been put on. So we are attempting to put on a business networking event that combines cannabis business owners to small business owners here locally, so they can start having a conversation about how they can work together.
So we're talking about cannabis industry business owners as well as non-cannabis industry business owners?
Yes.
Okay.
They're mingling in the same place.
Give me an example of like industries that are mixing here.
Well, we have a range of dispensary owners, personal growers.
Of course, okay.
All licensed, of course. And then we have craftsmen or craft artists who create cannabis art, who kind of want to introduce themselves and maybe work with
art of any kind.
Art of any kind.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
We
I
don't
was like,
censor.
is this a specific thing? What is
we
this cannabis art?
Yeah, we don't censor, so we're open to everybody. And of course, we do pride ourselves on making the Chronicle a community magazine.
Mm-hmm. Of course, and you guys are very good at that, because I know that's one of the main things that draws you guys to hosting an event, I think, with Burqueños, is because you guys are very in the community, I think. I was telling my buddy Dave here, I was like, man, we're going to interview the person that's like in the middle of the matrix, like you're...
Yeah, in the middle of the matrix, trying to create top-notch niche,
Right.
as I should say.
Right, and I think you're kind of doing that because I this event is on the Banque Loft roofs. Do I have that right? Bank? Is that how you say it? See,
It's just spelled funny.
All the white got in the way again. I'm sorry. I was trying to like over-enunciate it.
Yeah, no, it's bank.
Right, it's very beautiful. We're overlooking the city of Albuquerque on the 8th floor. Got a DJ. We got BudBoards here. Just had Josh Mallet on from BudBoards.
Oh, nice.
Shout out to BudBoards there.
Our partners,
Right.
BudBoards and Liaison Consulting, which is Erica Rowland.
call
From
it-
Seed to Sale Consulting.
Okay, and that's a cannabis industry. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Essentially a liaison to help somebody start a cannabis business.
If they're interested on what to do, all the ins and outs of it.
So tell me about the state of the thing. Is there a lot of business growing right now, even though we're not recreational legal in New Mexico?
It is. If you
Okay.
notice, a lot of CBD shops have been popping
Yes,
up. So
yes.
that is a good thing. And we have actually a new CBD massage spa. They have a booth upstairs. It's called Bliss, and it's owned by Gina Lucero.
So would I be safe in assuming that they have some sort of tinctures and ointments that they
Oh,
massage
yeah,
you
they-
with
exactly.
CBD in it? Okay. And we didn't cover this, I don't think specifically with Josh, but what is the difference between CBD and THC for a layman, let's say?
CBD is the medicinal part, basically the non-psychotropic part of the plant.
Sure.
So you're not going to
Doesn't
get high.
get you high.
Yeah.
Right, okay, sure.
It's the medicinal part.
So
though.
I could be 18, walk
Mm-hmm.
into a store and not have to do anything but produce an ID to say I'm 18, and then you can buy this stuff and it's in
In every form you can imagine.
Sure, you can eat it. You can, because I remember I saw you at the medical marijuana convention that we had. I think it was probably a year ago now. It wasn't this year's, but I think it was last year's.
Yeah.
But I remember they were giving that chocolate away, and my wife and I were eating it. We both have a bad knee each, and we ate those. And I swear to you, like I felt like I could have done jumping jacks, you know. So.
Yeah, it's magical.
Sure.
I should say magical.
Right.
A lot of people don't have a lot of patience for it because you have to develop a regimen for it. But if you have the patience and you've tried everything else, CBD would be the next bet.
And again, just to go back to it, CBD and THC occur together in the marijuana plant, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. And then you extract one, and then extract
Yes,
the other, and then
exactly.
you sell one or the other. That's awesome.
Yes.
So whenever we're looking at somebody coming up to you and they're like, "Hey, Jen, I want to start a business." Like, where do you take them? What's a resource?
I would
for them?
refer them to Liaison Consulting.
Beautiful. Okay. Sweet.
I'm
Okay.
the connector. I'm just the connector. We are really big on forming partnerships within the industry to other small business owners. We are, again, a community entity, and we really take pride in that. And I
Sure.
think more people need to focus on it.
Right, and do you feel that, and I have to play the devil's advocate because I know we're talking about a podcast here, but do you feel that if it did become recreational, that there would be the level of, I don't want to say regulations, but do you think that the small businesses would be able to handle it properly? Like it wouldn't be an issue for New Mexico, like, oh man, it went legal in New Mexico and it went to shit. That wouldn't be a thing, right? Like,
Well, there has to be a very structured model, obviously, and it
from
does,
the state level.
Yeah, and
Right.
it does have to be regulated because we do supply our medicinal consumers right now, of course,
Right.
and we wouldn't want to take that over, even though I'm okay with rec.
Right.
A lot of people
I would think
are.
that it's statistically proven that the U.S.
Yeah.
holds that majority, view. It's kind of odd that hasn't taken with the White House, but that's okay. That's a whole nother podcast, Jen. We're not going to.
Yeah, I know that's a whole nother 2 hours or so.
But talking about a system that works, do you have an opinion of the other states that are doing this stuff? Like, would you want Colorado's system, let's say, to be applied compared to Oregon's, let's say?
I think Colorado has a really good model. I think it needs some work, and before we dive into it, which I think will be pretty close to under 2 years, I'm
Right.
hoping, once we adopt a model, I think there's some fine-tuning that we can accomplish to hopefully serve everybody.
Sure. So you feel confident that we would have the ability to turn that leaf? Because I'm thinking that we got this governor race coming up. It's going to be... I'm hoping somebody that leans that direction, because I know the mayor does in Albuquerque, which is something that I'm sure was a blessing in the direction of recreational and medicinal, because it seems like them taking away, they decriminalized possession in Albuquerque, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was like a nod to the fact that they understand that the majority of the population is who they serve. It's not going to be your political party lines and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So, and that, maybe I'm saying a lot, but I feel that
The important thing is you're saying something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I was thinking that You would be the person to be able to tell me if you felt that our current leadership, do you think that's something that is going to happen soon, recreational?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
And I like to stay positive on it, so I won't say it won't happen, but
Right.
I like to believe it is.
So when you do these events, do you do them often? You said that you're the guys are the only ones doing them.
Yes.
Okay.
These types of events. This is a first event for this type of mixer, so we hope to continue this throughout the year.
Sure. Okay. And then are you guys working towards any sort of like big events? Are you guys going to do like a Chronicle Fest or something like that?
Yeah, we will eventually work towards that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys get a lot of interest from bands at all that want to like try
Oh,
to?
yeah. The whole scene hits me up.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And when they do these, they come to you for these things. Are they also looking like, I don't know, is it, do they want to get in your magazine? Like, how does that work?
Oh, no. I mean, like, I'm very open to any submissions.
Okay.
Of course, we do sell advertising.
Okay.
That's how the magazine is produced.
Sure.
For the cover artists, I booked who I ran into and who was willing to work with me and do that. So everything is booked until next summer, really.
Wow. So you kind of got the community helping you. Right. Okay. So if let's talk a little bit about the magazine for somebody that may not have checked it out. And then I also want to make sure that we mention where they can get
Okay.
Chronicle.
Sure.
So you guys do reviews?
It's a quarterly magazine.
Okay.
The Chronicle is a quarterly magazine, and we do have strain reviews, product reviews, everything from hybrid to indica sativa, CBD, flower, along with whatever products that anyone wants us to review. So we do have a board of directors, strain review board. So it's all open to patients.
That's fancy.
And it changes every so often, so we're not biased, so people
Right.
don't think we're
Right.
constantly just picking our favorites,
Right.
although we'd love to, but
You're
we
like,
thought...
John loves that purple.
I know, this
I know
is
he
John's
does.
choice.
Of course it
This
always
is Jen's
wins. The
choice.
hell.
Yeah, no, people would get bored with that after
Yeah.
a while. So we open it up to patients who are willing to work with us also, and who are also our volunteers and help us out a lot.
Part of the community.
Part of the community.
I like it. So we do strain reviews. We do articles also.
Articles that are submitted by local people as well, talking about anything cannabis. This is where we combine culture with cannabis, because it is basically its own culture.
Right.
You can find people who, whether ingest it medicinally or recreationally, they have something in common.
Sure.
And we want to
like
create
cannabis.
that connection.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you guys do any sort of vetting of these things? Like, are you guys like, this guy is writing some like crazy thing about dancing with unicorns in the clouds? Like, you shouldn't write any letters while
Of
you're
course.
high, guy. You know.
Well,
like writing
we
back?
don't like to censor, but we do ask specific topics,
Sure.
and we do approach people who can provide those articles.
That's super cool. So could people that are listening, if they had
Oh,
some
of course.
knowledge in the noggin,
Yeah, they would
could
just
hit you
have
up?
to email it to info@thechroniclenm.com.
If you wanted to check out the Chronicle, like, where is your best presence online?
Oh, right now I'd say it's social media, Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook.com/, do you know what it is?
The Chronicle
Chronicle,
NM.
straight up. Okay, I don't know. And then your Instagram. Do you guys have an Instagram?
The Chronicle NM.
The Chronicle NM. Nice. Okay.
Everything is the Chronicle NM. Easy to find.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do is we'll share back that stuff. But I mean, everybody knows you guys a lot more than they know us.
Well, let's fix that.
Right, exactly. And like a ships rise on the water together, the whole bit. I hope to join the Chronicle community a little bit.
You already
deeper.
are. Look, you're wearing the T-shirt and everything.
Right, I got some swag on.
Yeah.
Speaking of swag, so what do you guys do with it's just the magazine? It's free, isn't it?
The magazine is free. You can pick it up
That is
at all of
awesome.
our advertisers. Usually
Okay.
are the carriers, although we do put it in small places like coffee shops downtown. There's some at Imbibe, Sister Bar downtown. And we started a subscription service. So for $20, you can have the magazine mailed to your home.
Ooh-wee.
And you can find that on the website at thechroniclenm.com.
Right, I don't think we said that yet. Perfect. Okay. So if we wanted to get articles, we can reach out to you, put the articles in there. We want to get on the strain review board. We're going to call it the round table. It just sounds cool, You want to get on be a night in the round table, then you have to
Yeah.
hit up the same website. And then what if somebody wanted to put on an event? Like, are you guys out there trying to did BudBoard hit you guys up to do this, or how did this
It was
work?
something I wanted to do in a long time, and I was looking for the right opportunity and the right person. And it so happened that BudBoard was at the right place, at the right time.
That's awesome.
Because they approached me, and I already had it in the back of my head. So
That's awesome, because we just talked to Josh, and that dude is super knowledgeable. Is he the guy that you found?
no, it was Antonio.
Antonio. I don't think I've met Antonio yet.
He's one of the guys up there.
He's one of, okay, because he was leading me on the journey of terpenes and
Yes.
the flavors, as well as like the variations that go into the. I mean, really, what we're talking about is the end user, and it goes into that person walking in the door. They look at one of these boards and they see that stuff. Do you guys recommend any of these individual stores? Is there like some sort of a review for the dispensaries yet, or we're not there?
No, we're not there yet. We're just on products.
Right, because I didn't know if there's a directory in there as well.
Yeah, that is actually perks directory. So usually any dispensary can contact us if they give discounts for birthday, first-time patient, military,
I was gonna say,
first
nice,
responder, you know,
right, the patriotic
senior
stuff,
discount.
of course. Okay, and then because that would mean that if somebody came from out of state, because they're able to buy if they have a medical license elsewhere, is that a thing? I don't know these answers. So if I come from Colorado and have a medical license, can I buy in New Mexico?
No, that's reciprocity.
Reciprocity. So you can't buy here if you're from another. Okay, because I didn't know if that was another benefit.
I think the only place you could do that is Vegas, but they recently went rec, so there's no need for.
Right. Okay. No, that totally makes sense. And I didn't know if they never had a medicinal in Las Vegas, right?
They did.
They did. Okay. Because I remember there was like an old sign. It was like 20 years
Yeah,
for
and they were
possession,
the
right?
only
That was
ones
like
that I
their
know
whole-
of that had the way you can purchase out there with a license from here.
Right, because they usually have different sections. When you go into a dispensary, it's medicinal and recreational, right? For the places
Well,
that
now
have
I'm
recreational.
curious to go back and see how that works now, but
Yeah.
I'm really curious.
Right. So have you seen any of the recreational stores recently at all? Like anywhere outside of
Just Colorado.
just Colorado? So I may or may not have seen the one in Washington, and the ones in Washington, I feel like they're much more lax because it was almost
Really?
it was like I was walking into Walmart, like it was floor to ceiling,
God.
and I couldn't believe it. And the guy was selling stuff at like really wholesale. Whereas Colorado, I feel like they're kind of like Amsterdam is, which I know they have an issue with how much they're allowed to carry a day per store. Which turns
That's where
into
the regulation comes in.
Right, sure. And I just thought it was different. That was what I was talking to Josh about, is the difference in, the places, like which one of those might be too lax or not so. Because the guy was telling me he can't sell enough of it, and they're having an issue like that in Oregon, So I wonder what's the scenario if it goes legal here. And I don't know. Like I said before, I was trying to see if we'd be able to catch up if we had gone recreational. We look at these other states. How are they doing it? How's it working there? I listen to the Denver Post podcast every once in a while. It's their marijuana podcast. And they kind of talk about how things work there. But it's so different because it's recreational. Things have just exploded. So I try to look into New Mexico, and unless you have a license, which I do not, you don't know a lot of stuff. So we look at the Chronicle. We find out, what dispensaries are better. If you need to get treatment and you're a new patient, I'm sure that you can get a lot of knowledge out of each one of those magazines, right?
And things change all the time. So we're still,
Yeah,
scrambling to
digging
keep up.
through it.
Yeah.
And then what about the legislation here? Has anything changed of late? I know that they said that they gave more people the ability to get the card for more symptoms.
Yeah, they added more symptoms, or the list of ailments, I believe, that
That you can
is a required
right
ailment
to qualify.
to qualify.
To
yes.
qualify. And in that same breath, I think I've read some news about how the state is kind of struggling to keep up with the demand. Do you need to go over there? Okay. I don't know if that was too much of a line.
No, I'm just
Scanning, watching. Jen is all. She's all.
because I now have to go upstairs too. So.
Right, yeah. So you're actually in 5 different places. This is only one facet of Jen that I'm getting at. No, that's that, and I guess what I'm trying to attribute the community to is that we can see the Chronicle, I think, kind of exploding in the future, because once we go rec, like, I don't know where else I would look to know where there's going to be a good dispensary, but I would think you guys would have those listings.
Yeah, we have some of them, and again, it's up to our dispensaries to reach out to us. I mean, we can chase everybody, but it's a hard job to do for 2 people.
Right.
And
Let's talk about that. How many guys are there in the
2.
Chronicle? There's still just the 2 of you guys.
yeah, there's 2. There's me and John Delgado, and of course we have our volunteers that help us with everything. So if they're out there advocating and saying that the magazine, it's part of them, then we've done our job.
You guys heard it. You got to make sure to go out there and advocate.
Advocate.
So what are we looking for in the future? What's the next thing that
Hopefully, more events.
Okay.
More events, and I don't know. I can't reveal too much. But
Sure.
there are
Well, I don't
some.
know if we might have some sort of baby exclusive here.
No, not yet.
No other events that are coming up that we can plug.
We have the expo coming up. The Cannabis Expo. There's an ad in the magazine. It's July 7th and 8th, and it's at Crown Plaza.
Okay.
So it's a 2-day event, and it's
Sponsored by the Chronicle?
it's our event.
Okay, right on. And then there's another one that I think that I had heard that was is the medicinal one already passed? Like there's a medical expo. Is that the one that you're talking about?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because I thought there was another one that they had done at Hotel Albuquerque, maybe last year.
I don't know.
I just didn't know how many, like, if there was another.
There was a
sister event to you
symposium.
guys
Oh,
and-
no.
No, okay.
No. I know there was a symposium that's put on by Cannabis New Mexico staffing.
Okay. And what was the thing that happened 2 days ago? Because there was like the governor's thing. Tell
It
me
was a
about that.
private event at a private residence, and basically we wanted to gather the governor candidates, basically to get together, talk about how our state is going to change, whether we go rec or not, or what they're going to do for our patients.
How much can you talk about that? You can't much.
Well, it's on our Facebook page.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and I didn't
It
know.
was
I mean,
recorded.
Would you say that it's successful though? I mean, did
Yeah,
you
it
feel
was
like you guys were able
a
to?
great platform for
Okay.
these candidates. Although all of them did not show up, they did send representatives. So
That's something.
something.
Right. Were they in turn recording as well in order to take that back and actually listen to it? You feel like they were engaged?
Yes, they
Okay.
were. They were
That's
totally
cool.
engaged, and we got some questions answered. So
That's very cool. Anything weird they asked you?
no,
No.
No.
Because I always wonder, like you see, like the Jeff Sessions. He always
Yeah.
he's like, talks. They say these things, and you're like, who the hell did they talk to when they come up with this stuff? Like you could Google any number of things and actually
Yeah.
find the science on science on science, and sometimes they'll say some weird shit. So I wonder what our, because the governor thing is coming up. That's
it is.
Yeah, and we've got to
Hopefully
make a decision.
everybody will be voting by June 5th. Yeah.
Right, it's coming out.
Stay.
So my thoughts is that we want to, we don't want to endorse anybody, but do you know of any candidates that are endorsing it publicly?
The only one that I've seen is Jeff Apodaca.
Okay, he's a Democrat.
He's yes,
Okay.
and he's very open about it.
That's really cool. And he is for, we're talking recreational.
Both.
Oh wow. So that's what I was wanting to make sure that there was nothing we're missing in the future. Make sure you check out the Chronicle all over the place.
Yes, check us out. We're out there.
And where would be like where can we find you hanging out? Like
Me at
Yeah.
home.
at home? What was I thinking?
I'm busy working on this stuff, so.
Where do you guys keep your magazines? Any places you can name just real quick? Like people could walk by right now and go grab one? If they want to check one out?
The CBD Boutique, Pure Life, Southwest Wellness, MJ Espresso, Imbibe, Sister Bar, Deep Space Coffee.
There's a lot. You
Yeah, I'm
definitely-
trying to think of everybody's in there. Icon Ink Tattoo Parlor. There's other places that I can't
Sure.
remember, but
And
you
if
can
not,
find them online.
Subscribe, get online,
Yeah,
right?
subscribe.
Absolutely. Well, Jen,
$20
thank you so much.
for a year.
I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you
Thank
for letting
you.
us come down here and putz around your
Of course.
your awesome cannabis mixer. I was going to say an awesomeness.
I hope
cannabis
you go up
mixer.
and enjoy yourselves.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. You have a good
Thank
one.
you.
THC. We're talking about THC. Talking about THC. Talking about THC.
Sounds like a new age
THC.
rap song.
Talking about THC.
Just need a dirty beat in the background. That was a way dirtier beat than I was about to drop.
Man, you should jump